Hi, this is a vintage airspeed transducer. This transducer was installed in an air data computer. The air data computer was installed in a Nimrod aircraft. I have one complete air data computer, and I bought also two of these airspeed transducer. So this one and another one, which is here. So I will use one for the teardown because it is possible that the teardown will be irreversible. So the serial number of this one is 249, which is built in 73, and the other one is 257, also built in 73. So here there are, as usual, two input pressure. One is for the static pressure and one is for the pitot sensor. There is a sub D here, it is not common. So here there are some electronic modules. I think they are potted, so it will be difficult to do the reverse or to understand how this thing works, but I will try to figure out everything. So inside we should find a capsule. So we can see that we have also this strange stuff with several screws. So this is a mechanical system in order to do the translation between pressure and the airspeed. This is a nonlinear function, and there are several gears here. So what is interesting is the indication here. So there are also two limit switches here. This one seems stuck, but this requires maybe a mechanical adjustment. This one seems okay, as you can see. And you can see that on each side of this unit there is one pinion here and another one here, because actually this thing was installed in the air data computer, and there are also other modules on each side of this instrument, and each module communicates with the module which is just beside. And I forgot to say that this module was manufactured by Elliott. This is the pitot static transducer. So there is an AC motor here, obviously, and a tachymeter, 0.65 volt per 1000 rotation per minute. So we can start by opening this box in order to see the capsule. So we have effectively two capsules here. So these capsules generate a rotation of this shaft here. And that seems to be limit switch. I'm trying to rotate the motor here, so normally this should rotate. Okay, so we can see the rotation of this thing. There is something interesting I didn't see at first look. Is this sensor here? So it seems that this is an LVDT, a very small one. So you have this metal plate here. It is hidden by the black tube here. I'm trying to make a zoom on it. Okay, so this seems to be an LVDT sensor. We can distinguish the coil. So there is one excitation coil in the middle, just here, and two measurement coils, on the left and on the right of the excitation coil. And there is this metallic core here, which is attached to the shaft of the capsule. So normally the system should have a constant position, which is in the middle, when the moving core here is centered. Normally the idle position of this thing should be in the middle, somewhere here. These two contacts indicate probably the limits of this thing in order to avoid the mechanical damage. Try to make a zoom on this nice LVDT sensor. Normally there is an amplifier between this LVDT sensor and the AC motor. The amplifier should be inside one of the modules. So the idea is to follow the wires from the LVDT sensor to the modules in order to know which module permits to do the amplification, and maybe there is another module which permits to drive the motor. So one can see that these wires, so there is a red, yellow, blue and green, seems connected to this soldering contact here. So we just need to test with the continuity tester the resistance between these wires and one of these connectors. So the best is to use a continuity tester. Okay, so I will try to find the corresponding pins on the modules from these wires here. We can see that the connection between the electronics and the LVDT sensor uses 4 terminals. 2 wires are shielded and 2 others are not. So obviously the 2 shielded cables are connected to the measurement coils and the 2 others are the excitation signals. So I will try to find the corresponding pins with these measurement signals. So there is a white wire and a green one. So we start with the white wire. Okay, so we have a connection here and the green one. Okay, so we have the measurement signal here between these 2 terminals. So let's see if we find something for the excitation coil. Excitation coil seems not connected to these things, so I don't know. It seems connected to the sub-D connector. There is maybe an adjustment outside these things, so This will be complicated. I will test the yellow one. The excitation coil seems not connected to this circuit. The excitation coil is connected between these two terminals of the sub-D connector, this pin and this one. So that means that this transducer cannot work in standalone mode. So maybe we will need to do some connections between this excitation coil and some other terminals. What I can do is to find where are going these terminals in the data computer itself. Anyway, it seems that the amplifier is this module actually, with 6 terminals. This is a complete air data computer from Elliott. So here there is the airspeed measurement system, which is identical to this one here. This is the altitude measurement system. And there are several modules also on the back, which are the Mach measurement, the vertical speed and so on, and different stuff. So this is a beautiful piece of equipment. I can show you the mechanical side here. And you can see that the links between each module, a rotation from this side, for example, will provide a rotation of all the gears. So I will try to find on the rear of this instrument where are going the two terminals for the excitation coil of this LVDT sensor. I think this task will not be easy. Okay, so the wiring is complex. So you can see all the sub-D connectors and all the tubes for the pressures. I try to figure out where this thing is located. So this should be somewhere here. So probably this is the socket here. I will open one more time this thing, it will be easier. I am not sure. Okay, actually they are not the same. I thought it was the same, but between the left and the right you can see that they are symmetrical, because this way I didn't understand. So this is this one here. Okay, so it is installed like that. So this is effectively this sub-D connector. I don't know the purpose of this sub-D9 connector here, because on this instrument there is only this 25 pins connector here. So this is maybe a calibration stuff. Can be interesting to remove the module and to see what is connected on this socket here. This is very complicated. It is not possible to remove the module actually, because it requires to remove everything here. And this is absolutely impossible. So I just found that there is a connection between one terminal of the excitation coil to one terminal of this thing here, of this connector, but it doesn't help. So maybe there is a particular AC power supply for the excitation coils. Can be interesting to see if they are connected in parallel. One is connected, but the other one is not connected in parallel. This thing is very complex, as you can see. I cannot imagine the amount of time which is required to produce one instrument like this. That's the end for this first part. Next time I will try to do the reverse engineering of the wiring of this transducer, and probably after that it should be possible to make working this unit again. This should be interesting after 50 years. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.